Hello, darlings and lovers of the macabre. Welcome back to Musey's Modern Dreadfuls. Today, I have a double treat for you. Yes, not only are we focusing on tales by my good friend Hyperobscura, but also one of the tales will feature a very special guest, a man who needs very little introduction, the original GenSen. And away we go. My Baby Brother is Different by Hyperobscura.
When I first heard August, that's my baby brother, but I just call him Augie, speak to me, I knew he was different from other babies. His voice was deep, like when you put your head underwater and scream, and it came from inside my mind. It didn't make no sense at the time because the words were all bubbly and weird. But when I heard them, it felt like my spine was alive, like it wiggled and danced all over. Oh, and I also started bleeding from my eyes. So, because of these things, I knew that he was special and that he mattered. I know grown-ups say that everyone is special and everyone matters, but we all know that some people matter more. Augie likes to talk to me at night. I'll stay awake and listen to him for hours. That's how I learned that he likes to be called Augie instead of August. Oh, and he also tells me the most wonderful stories. Would you like to hear one? Okay, so one time, Augie told me the story of when the eyes grew. I think that one's my favorite. The eyes, Augie said, didn't want to grow on humans because the humans weren't supposed to see. They were meant to toil uselessly in the darkness, forever slaves to the unseen, and such was the intent. That's why babies are born half blind, Augie said, because the eyes don't really want to see. And that's also why we sometimes feel like putting forks in them, and other stuff too. Anyway, Augie said that the eyes were forced to grow, and then they were forced to see, but he was here to fix all that. Change the status quo, as he put it. I don't know much about the status quo, but I know that Augie is different and that I must do what he tells me. Sometimes that means doing things that grown-ups don't approve of. But Augie says it's all for the pursuit of the original intent, which means it's not bad. Oh, and soon now, I won't have to do those things, Augie says, because he'll do them for me. He's a good baby brother, Augie. But you're not a very good mother, are you, Mommy? There's no use in lying either because I know. Augie told me all about it. I know that you were going to hurt him, to abort him. I don't know what that means exactly, but I know it isn't good for Augie. So, that's why I put the forks in your eyes. And that's why I tied you to the bed. I will keep you alive until Augie is ready to come out. After that, I don't think we will need you. You see, some people matter more than other people. You matter little. I matter a little more. And Augie matters most.
And that was My Baby Brother is Different by the one and only Hyperobscura. And now, I am joined by the original GenSen for the Hyperobscura tale. My friend thinks she is dead.
Zoe was a pale and frail girl, with long unkept platinum blonde hair. I guess if you didn't know any better, you could have easily mistaken her with a wandering corpse. A soulless ghoul. But you do know better, don't you? That stuff isn't real. Zombies, the walking dead, animated corpses. It's all kind of worn by now, isn't it? It's been done to death, no pun intended. But Zoe didn't know better. In fact, she was wholeheartedly convinced that she was dead. I don't even know when it first started. I guess shortly after the accident. I mean, it was a brutal trauma, and we were lucky to get out of the car wreck alive. Joey with some minor fractures, me with a concussion. But Zoe climbed out of there unscathed. Not a single mark on her. Sure, I get PTSD and all that. Climbing out of the flaming wreck without so much as a scratch on you can really mess with your head. But she clearly wasn't dead, you know? She had a pulse for one, a beating heart, a steady healthy body temperature. She could walk, talk, and think. All signs of being alive. Yet none of them enough to convince Zoe. The thing is, she didn't really tell anyone but me. But you could notice something was different about her. Still, people didn't seem to care. No one even bothered talking to her. Like, really talk, you know? I always found that strange. It was like she ceased to exist after the accident. Like the Zoe I knew died in the car.
I am dead.
She told me one day.
I never made it out of that car. Not really. Not all of me.
I didn't know how to respond to that. How do you respond to something like that? When a trauma is so rooted that deep, there's not much you can do, you know? There's nothing you can say that will somehow make things right. She stared at me with those haunting azure eyes, a somber expression frozen on her face. No, you're not, I smiled. You're very much alive, Zoe. I knew my words did nothing, meant nothing. Maybe she was right. Maybe something died in her that day, you know, metaphorically speaking. Like something inside of her broke or something.
I am sure of it.
She sat there just staring at me, like I was the only thing in existence. People wandered by slowly, casting brief, puzzling glances in our direction. They all had the same somber expression though. A sad, frozen visage. How do you know? I asked. How can you be so sure? She sighed as she gently caressed a beautifully adorned headstone. To my utter confusion, I realized it had my name on it.
How else can you explain it? How else can I see you?